Godzilla vs. Kong made me sad. It is a film full of missed opportunities and shallow storylines put together, seemingly, by people who don't understand the source material or the previous chapters of this theatric universe. When I sat down in front of my teddy with a tub of Rossi's chocolate ice cream and my phone on silent, I was looking forward to a good time. Little did I know, I was going to be inspired to make this video. Godzilla vs. Kong has good stuff in it. Like most big budget films nowadays, despite having half the budget of Justice League, the majority of what makes up Godzilla vs. Kong, graphics, sound design, action, etc., are top notch. During my rewatch, where I was taking notes and making screenshots for this video, I ended up taking screenshots purely to use as wallpapers. The action is by far the best part, focusing purely on Godzilla and Kong, and I would almost say it's worth watching a film just to see the fights. Almost. A good soundtrack can bolster a scene, good graphics can impress the eye, well choreographed action can lead the audience through a merry dance. These and all other aspects of a film rely upon a story. The story is what everything is built upon. A good story can keep you hooked and weave all elements of a film together into a cohesive greater whole. A bad story can ruin a film, take the ground out from under it and leave it wanting. Godzilla vs. Kong's story is so bad, it's broken. For anyone who doesn't care about themes or story or anything making sense, then Godzilla vs. Kong is the perfect film for you, because big monkey punch laser lizard. For those who look for a good theme in a film, who believe a story isn't as important as the point it is trying to make, then Godzilla vs. Kong, as far as I can tell, has no theme. No thoughtful through line, nothing raising the film up from the shallow action flick it's trying to be. The best faith interpretation is a arrogance of man theme, but that has been explored far more thoroughly in other films, including in the Monsterverse. If a successful delivery of a theme in a film is someone hitting the bullseye, Godzilla vs. Kong is someone sitting drunk at a table who's casually slung a dart somewhere in the direction of the dartboard. If you do care that things make sense, I will be going through the whole film to extricate my issues, and believe me, there are a lot of issues. My original intent was to make one big video. However, having gone through initial drafts of the script, I realised that this is far too much to put into one video and not put myself off making videos in the future. With that in mind, my current plan is to make 10 videos talking about scenes, locations, characters, events, or entire plots. To give you an idea of why I'm splitting these up, allow me to talk to you about the plot of Godzilla vs. Kong. The plot is as follows. The bad guy wants Godzilla energy from the Hollow Earth to power the Mechagodzilla they have built to fight titans and make humans the apex species. This is the plot. These 25 words are the reason for every action in this film taking place. It causes Godzilla to attack. It encourages the expedition to the Hollow Earth. It takes Kong on a round-the-world cruise. It sets up the fights between Godzilla and Kong and their subsequent handicap match against Mechagodzilla. It is the driving force of the film and on its own has plenty of problems. Let's go through some of the issues, shall we? First of all, Godzilla energy? Godzilla doesn't have a mysterious energy. He's nuclear powered. He has always been nuclear powered. Nuclear energy has always been part of Godzilla's existence. It is integral to his story, and those stories that don't include a nuclear narrative, such as Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, are seen as lacking. In the Monsterverse continuity, nuclear radiation is the Titan food source. It's the reason the Mutos woke up in Godzilla 2014. It's what heals Godzilla in Godzilla King of the Monsters after he's been hit with the oxygen destroyer. Godzilla energy is a huge red flag telling us that the writers wanted to give the film a reason to happen regardless of how much sense it made. It also is a worrying sign that they didn't necessarily understand Godzilla or why he exists. Speaking of sense, the Hollow Earth. The concept of the Hollow Earth has both shrunk and grown between Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla King of the Monsters. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, and to a lesser extent Kong's Skull Island, the Hollow Earth was a network of tunnels that connected places around the world. Godzilla vs. Kong scraps this idea, replacing innumerable tunnel networks circling the Earth with 24 tunnels leading straight down to the planet core, where the new Hollow Earth exists. It doesn't make any sense in continuity. It's like someone heard about the Hollow Earth existing in the Monsterverse and made it up as they went along when writing Godzilla vs. Kong without checking how it was used in previous films. Then we have Mechagodzilla. When I heard rumours of Mechagodzilla being in Godzilla vs. Kong, I wondered how they would implement him. Would they radically change the design to work in a real life setting? What interesting way would they implement the old concept? Alas, my hopes of something inventive and different were quashed pretty quickly. That's fine, that's alright. They transmuted the existing giant robot straight into the Monsterverse. It's a bit of a stretch for realism, but there we go. As long as it makes sense. The explanation for making Mechagodzilla is that the bad guy wants to make humanity the apex species on planet Earth. This doesn't make much sense. Humanity was basically in charge of the planet until they accidentally woke up one of the Titans, the Mutos in Godzilla 2014. The Mutos were killed, and since the rest of the Titans are still asleep, humans are still in charge of the planet. If the idea is to make something that can fight or destroy the Titans when they wake up, a giant robot is the worst thing to make. It's the same argument that was brought against the Pacific Rim Jaegers. Rather than spending so much time, money and resources on building giant robots, spend a fraction of the time, money and resources building smaller, more effective weapons that would fit into the real world that this story exists in. Mechagodzilla has a laser weapon in its head, for crying out loud. Just stick that on a turret, or a tank, or a plane. Make lots of them. Or, here's an idea. Make more oxygen destroyers. In Godzilla vs. Kong, there is a character working for the bad guy named Ren Zarazawa. When it was discovered this character would be in the film, fans, including myself, presumed that this would be the son or other relation to Dr. Zarazawa, who is the head of Monarch in the previous Monsterverse films. Dr. Zarazawa was also a character in the original 1954 film, Godzilla. Both doctors sacrificed themselves in their respective films. In 2019's King of the Monsters, Dr. Zarazawa used a nuclear bomb to heal Godzilla, whereas in 1954's Godzilla, Dr. Zarazawa used the oxygen destroyer to kill Godzilla. Clearly the makers of Godzilla King of the Monsters wanted to make a connection between the two characters, but by the time this scene occurred in the film, fans were already disappointed. In the previous film, Godzilla 2014, Dr. Zarazawa referenced his father suffering through the bombing of Hiroshima, just like the original Zarazawa did, raising hopes there was somehow a connection to the original Godzilla film. However, when the oxygen destroyer, the weapon created by Zarazawa in the original film, was used in Godzilla King of the Monsters, with little build-up and no reverence whatsoever for the source material, this created a sore point for fans, including myself. Godzilla vs. Kong could have addressed and connected these events and characters using the new character of Ren Zarazawa. Imagine if Ren Zarazawa was the son of Dr. Zarazawa from the Monsterverse, who, in turn, was the son of the original Dr. Zarazawa from Godzilla. What if Ren Zarazawa went against his father's wishes and used his father's notes to build the new oxygen destroyer for the military? What if Ren Zarazawa resented never having met his grandfather because of Godzilla and held a misguided hatred towards the Titans because of it? This resentment would only be bolstered by his father's death, providing reasoning for him helping the bad guy in Godzilla vs. Kong. Ren's story would mirror the story of Mark Russell from Godzilla King of the Monsters, whose son and wife died because of Godzilla and the Titans. These two characters could have talked to one another in Godzilla vs. Kong, discussing their different viewpoints on their shared experiences, possibly coming to a reasoned conclusion, or presenting an irrational end to the reasonable mark, resulting in conflict leading to the end of the film. Unfortunately, none of this is done in Godzilla vs. Kong. Nothing is done with Renzo Ozawa in this film. He could just as easily be replaced with no-name minions or removed from scenes entirely. That's how much of an effect he has on this film. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Disappointed that a series of films with so many possibilities produced an almost generic action film. No deeper themes, no character development. This film didn't stand on the shoulders of giants or indeed titans. Instead, it jumps around in the puddles of mud at their feet. I was expecting a Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant style matchup. A clash of legends, of old rivalries renewed, of the old giant passing the torch to the new Hulk in a match that would resonate throughout history. Instead, I got Undertaker vs Goldberg, a shallow cash grab of a thing that nearly killed both parties. As I continue this video series, I will almost certainly get frustrated or annoyed with one point or another, and although there will certainly be issues that deserve my and others' ire, overall, anger is not the driving force of this critique. This isn't an unbridled rage. This is a great sadness. Thank you for watching this video. It's the first I've ever made, so please be gentle. It's my first time. If you're looking forward to more from me, feel free to click the subscribe and bell buttons. For a bit of selfish self-promotion, I have an Etsy store. There will be a link in the description if I can work out how and remember to do so. Once again, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.